Another day, another video. Today's video, brought to you by Vengeancer, is about fishing. Uh, every Friday I want to do something to deal with fishing. Just kind of keeps it something new going on the schedule, and I don't think fishing gets enough love. It's one of my favorite life skills, even if it isn't the most efficient on making silver. We got the windy, well, my caravel's name is Windy Long Don. I thought it was kind of funny. So we got that out. We're out here. We're gonna do this Fish for Villagers quest. It gives you the contribution, but it also gives you a triple float fishing rod, or unless they reworked it, but used to. It did. You can do it every 3 days. You just gotta catch one of each kind of fish. We already did the other one. I did it previously, the spotted sea bass. So we need the black porgy we just caught. The way I do it is I just sail around and look for hotspots. Somethinglovely.net/BDO is a good site. You can click the checkbox for fishing hotspots and it'll tell you where they are. The one I always have problems finding are the tuna. So I end up sailing around quite a bit, but the other thing that are good about these hotspots are when they last, you catch the same fish every time. It looks like there might be... Nah, this is just the black porgy one. But these sell for 140,000 a piece. And to continue off yesterday's video with the trading, I'm recording these back to back, so I'm actually recording them the same day, but they're going to go upload, separate days. We were working on trading. I want to mention about the trading real quick is the idea behind the trading videos are to just prep and get myself back into doing trade crates. So anything to do with trading on those days will be just prepping. There's a couple things I got to do. I got to rework my nodes a little bit and just make sure they're up to date, and then get all my crates over here to sand grain. And I also have an elephant that I need to upgrade or train this guy so he has a couple of the skills. He needs to have quick ride, or I think it's quick ride and joyride, or I forget the exact name of the skills. But the reason I mentioned that is because I did yesterday's video and I didn't mention that. I wanted to get the elephant leveled up, and then we're also working on just getting crates in general back to running again to start getting some silver built up. The other reason I mentioned trading is because active fishing goes hand in hand with trading. If you can get your trading to Artisan 2, which mine is by proxy just Artisan 9 because I fish so much and just sell the stuff to the trader. But if you can get to Artisan 2 and get the desert buff, which I did look up, the desert buff you do get from Sanctum, Pilgrim Sanctum sharing right here. It costs you 100 energy, you get it, it lasts for an hour, it gives you plus 50% silver for all trade items traded into the desert as long as they have come from outside the desert. That's what makes the trade crates so good, and I kind of explained that in the trading video yesterday. But what I am trying to get at today is that you have to have all the nodes connected for the trade crates, but if you're active fishing, as long as you're fishing somewhere outside the desert, you don't have to have the nodes connected to make profit off of it. And you don't have to fight over like the Imperial delivery. So what you do is you come to these fishing hotspots, fish your heart's content, because if you're in a hotspot, you're gonna get the same fish every time. So you just fish and fish and fish and fish. You can by osmosis just go to each hotspot, and you'll eventually get these 4 fish. It'll give you contribution and triple float if you go it. It'll be fine, but you'll eventually get that done just from visiting the hotspots. The fishing is always abundant out here because not very many people do this, in terms of game population. So you just sit here and active fish, or you can just AFK and let it let it do its thing until the hotspot runs out, and then move on to another one. And the reason that's important is because you can take these fish to any trader and trade them in. The farther away, the better. You're going to get a distance bonus. But if you have Artisan 2 trading and have done the quest and have access to the trade buff, go get the trade buff and go turn all of these in Valencia City. You're going to get a huge amount of silver compared to what you normally would. It makes active fishing very profitable. Especially if you like fishing. It's just a little something extra. So, something I learned recently. Figured I would share it on for anybody that doesn't know. But I always just dump mine at a trader. I don't even try to go to the Imperial. The Imperial guy is almost always capped out. And whenever they reworked the Imperial turn-ins, they did not rework the Imperial fishing, so they still have the daily limits on the fishing. Just pretty bad. Pretty bad for anybody that does active fishing. I know a lot of people just can't value, and after they're AFK, they just turn their fish in. And the reason the Imperial fish guy is good is because he gives you 250% regardless of condition on certain fish. So you get quite a bit of silver out of that. But the Valencia trading method with the trade buff is far superior to that if you can stand to run over there to Valencia and turn them in. So our mission today is just do a little bit of fishing and try to get these. So we got the black porgy. I was hoping that another hotspot would pop up around here, because in this spot here, this area where we're at is where the tunas are supposed to be. It's just one of those things where sometimes you're unlucky, but yeah, right in here is where the tunas are supposed to be. We're a little far north. Maybe I can look to the south and see some, but I am not seeing any down there. So kind of over there where my marker is where the tunas are supposed to be at. But the way to tell a hotspot are these fish jumping out of the water with the seagulls flying around them. And they don't last forever. They do eventually go away. If you have a decent boat, and when I say decent, I mean Bartali. I used to go out in a Bartali sailboat. That's the one you can get from the quest. But if you do that, you can upgrade that into an Etheria frigate or an Ethereal caravel. I did mine into a caravel. See, there goes the hotspot right there. I did mine into a caravel. What I'm going to do is plan on upgrading to the Carrack through the sailboat line. And eventually, I'll have I won't get the balance one, but I'll get the one that is more heavily towards trading. I don't care about combat, but I wanted the one with the most weight, so that's why I went this route instead of getting a frigate. Some people might think it's a waste, but on the short term, it was less materials to upgrade. And I probably won't, I don't do enough bartering. I won't get my Carrack for a very long time. Okay, so it looks like we're not seeing any hotspots around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set another destination. We're going to hit the grunt spot, which is right in here. Those are sorrels, but there should be some grunt spots right in here. And then there's another tuna spot on over. So what we can do is we can zoom right on over. And I don't have high level sailing, mine's skilled 5. Come on, that's what I think. Mine is skilled 5, but it does alright. He said I don't have a very fast ship because I just have, there's my ship info. My sailors aren't very good either. I haven't invested very much into it, but I do have the +10 if you're a Caravel green gear, I have to get the blue gear and then a bunch of materials, and once I have that stuff, then I can upgrade to the Carrack. Most of those materials you get by bartering and then trading for them. I just have not spent a lot of time doing that yet. So there should be hotspots over here. If there are one appearing, they should be grunt. And again, the map that I use is somethinglovely.net/BDO. And there are checkboxes for every resource, leveling areas, horses, but I just use the fishing/hotspots, and then I can kind of get an idea of where the hotspots appear at. Today seems to be unlucky. It's probably because I'm recording. I'm not seeing any of them here. Okay, so next we need to move over to around in this area here. If we go over here and there's any hotspots over here, they'll either be the ones that we previously did or they'll be the tuna ones. So if they're spotted sea bass, I won't need them, but if they're tuna, that's great because tuna are hard to come by. At least I've always had a problem. They're like the ones that give me the most problem as far as finding hotspots. And the hotspots aren't guaranteed. The map just shows a chance of where they could appear. And if you're having problems you can't see a hotspot, I end up server hopping, and that helps some. And there's a setting, and I forget where it's at. It's in the game settings where you can make the sail transparent when you're sailing, so you can kind of see through it. It makes it a little easier. There's a hotspot right up there. So we zoom up to it, we jump off start fishing off the side. This is probably a spotted sea bass. It's kind of in that area where that's probably what it is. The tuna ones are usually redfish jumping. Well, maybe it's a tuna. No, I'm pretty sure this is spotted sea bass. I could be wrong though. Always make sure do not board other adventure ships.
Did I make you worried? Oh, I'll have to try harder.
Black Desert Ocean content is some of the content that I just regret not playing more. There's something about just sailing around in the ocean with the ship. It's just relaxing. I don't ever make very much progress. I could do it for hours and just not accomplish anything. But the hotspot fishing makes it a little bit more worthwhile. It's almost like I'm a captain looking for just fish, and then you take it back to the shore and sell it. You get your silver out of it. But yeah, spotted sea bass. Maybe if we hang out here, some of them will pop up near the south. So right over there in that area, a little bit over here is where the tuna ones are supposed to pop. But they don't usually pop on top of each other, so it's just one of those things. We got one more spot that we can head to. It's a little bit further east. It's got a couple of tuna and grunt ones that will pop up. It's over here near this island right in here. So over there, if we see one pop up over there. But for the quest, you don't have to go very far out. Hey, another perfect. For the quest, you really don't have to go very far out. Velia is right down here. And I usually just sail. I stay in between. Like Ilya is there, and right in this area is where you can find most of the hotspots you need. Sometimes you gotta go a little further over. If you need to, you can go over here. There's a couple tuna spots, but most of them I just do a rotation between this area here and just check the hotspot map. I'm gonna fish a couple more here and then move on. Said I don't want to sit here for 45 minutes making you guys watch me just do random fishing, but alright, so we are gonna move on from here. Normally I would fish that out before I left. The other thing that was really good was the hotspot fishing when they did the event where it had the 500 million, or the 500,000, sorry, 500,000/1 million, and sometimes even a 10 million fish event where you would get the hotspot and it would just be the golden fish and you just sit there and go fish, 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 and then you can NPC them. I made so much silver during that event. I forget what the event was called, but I just rode around, and there were even parties of people riding around on boats. You just find them and find the spots, and they looked like tuna spots. They were red fish, and then you could fish up, and they were just the event, kind of like a koi event, but it was out in the ocean with hotspot fishing. Alright, I'm really not seeing any hotspots out here. There's one over there, but I don't think that's one of the ones that we're looking for. We'll go check it out real quick. I think it's a grunt spot. If not, then it's going to be sea bass or the black porgy. Those two are very common, and then the grunt one is a little less common, and then tuna is, they're just terrible to find, at least in my experience. I know it's red, it might be tuna. The little red fish jumping up are usually indication of tuna. But then again, it may not. Come on, get off the ship. We're gonna run the spot over. So, that's probably not tuna. Judging on where we're at. It's probably something different. Tuna is closer to being over there where our marker was. Kind of back that way. Once you learn where the hot spots kind of appear, in which there's another one over there. No, Smoky Chromis. Don't have a need for that one, but if you're active fishing for silver, fish it out and move on. And I think this one is also spotted sea bass. I don't think it's tuna or grunt. Yeah, it's definitely spotted sea bass. But as abundant as the fishing is out here in the ocean, and you're talking 140,000, give or take, depending on the ones, but most of them are around 146,000 silver per, and as quick as you get them. That's pretty good money for the fishing if you're doing it actively, and then if you take it, you get the distance bonus if you take it to Valencia. And the further away you catch them from where you're selling them, the better. Get that bonus, and then if you're doing it in Valencia, then yeah, you definitely want to do the desert trade buff. That's going to increase by 50% over top of the bargaining and the distance bonus. Yep, spotted sea bass. So I'm not gonna continue on with this. I will either do it next time or I will finish it off camera. But it's been about 20 minutes. I just wanted to relay that information, kind of show you how I do my whole fishing and the way that I utilize fishing. I do it AFK overnight, but I also come out here in the ocean with my little boat and actively fish these hotspots because I know what fish they're going to be, and they're guaranteed us a pretty big amount of silver. When you get 10 of those, that's a million silver, but then you're also increasing that by 50% plus the distance bonus and the bargaining, so you're going to end up getting way above that. You're talking to 250, 300,000 silver, if not more, per fish. And if you have an inventory full, every little bit helps. That's always been my thing about Black Desert, is it gives all these systems. Whoops, clicked the wrong button. It gives all these systems, but it also gives you multiple ways to make very good silver. You know, grinding's obviously the best, but you have all these different life skills, so it depends on how you want to play the game. You don't have to do a certain most efficient thing. I mean, if you dive feet first and go all in on fishing, you're still going to make quite a bit of silver. Probably not as much as you're going to make as grinding, but if you don't like to grind and fishing is your thing, you have the avenues to make a whole load of silver doing it. Same with cooking, alchemy, you know, trading. It just even horse training. You just gotta dive into it and learn every little bit about the life skill and the mechanics in the game, and then there are ways to make quite a bit of silver out of either one of them. You don't just have to do one thing. So that's why Black Desert is so appealing to me. But all that being said, here's how I do my fishing and how I make profit from it. So hope that helped you out a little bit. And if it did, leave a like, leave me a comment. It helps the channel. Subscribe. Got to self-promote. And thanks for spending a little bit of time with me that we've been on here and that you do have to spend. I appreciate it. It means a lot. So, as always, until next time.